rhubarb pie, and remember the first step we need to do today is to ask an adult if we're allowed to use the kitchen and to wash our hands. So what we're going to need for this recipe is a pie crust, like cooker plate thing, blah blah blah. Measuring spoons, measuring cups for 1/3 and 1 cup, pie crust, sugar, flour, bowls, and rhubarb. So rhubarb is like celery, but it's not celery. So you have to cook it to eat it, otherwise it's really bitter. I have some rhubarb growing in my yard. Let's go see it. So this is rhubarb. Do not eat these leaves. These are very poisonous. The leaves are really poisonous. So that's why we only eat the stems. So this rhubarb that we have growing in our yard is not quite ready yet to be picked. So we're gonna need to use store-bought rhubarb because it needs to be red before it's ripe. First thing we're gonna need to do is preheat the oven to 450 degrees. So let's do that. Next, we're going to wash and cut the rhubarb. This recipe calls for 4 cups of rhubarb. So now we're gonna need to cut off this green part because if you guys can see it has leaves on it, so you're gonna want to cut that bit off. And make sure to get an adult's help with this if your knife skills aren't amazing. Also cut off this end. These pieces go bye-bye. Okay. You're gonna cut them about like this, right here. Whee! Cut up all the pieces, put them in a bowl. Cut the piece. Cut the piece, put it in the bowl. Cut the piece, put it in the bowl. Try to cut your pieces about the same size so that they cook even. I'd be like a chef. Done. So rhubarb is also very bitter and very, very watery. So we're going to need something to thicken it and something to sweeten it. Those are flour and sugar. So for this recipe we need 1 1/3 cup of sugar, and this is just a little math problem. If we want to make 2 pies, how many cups of sugar would we need? So let's just go ahead and add in our sugar because we're not making 2 pies. So we need 6 tablespoons of flour. But if you don't have a tablespoon measuring thing, you can just use a spoon. It's close. Make sure you use a scoop. Even it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finally 6. Now gently whisk this mixture with a fork or a whisk. I'm gonna use a whisk because I ain't got time to use a fork. But maybe you ain't got time for a whisk either. Nobody knows. Once this is evenly mixed, make sure, so set it aside and then we can do the pie crust. So let's do that now. So we have 2 refrigerated pie crusts because I ain't taking the time to make this homemade pie crust. We need 2 for 1 for the top and 1 for the bottom. So how we're gonna do this is we're going to carefully, without cutting the pie crust, cut open the pie crust. We'll carefully take it out. Be very, very careful. This is very fragile. Now you're gonna lay it on one side and just gently unroll the pie crust. So now that we have it in the pan like this, you're just going to really gently lift it and like push it down into the pan so it starts without cracking to form the shape of the pie. Pastry is hard to work with. I think this is pastry, I'm not sure. Is a pie a pastry? And now it looks like this. And you're gonna get the edges flat. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill the pie. We're going to use some of our mixture from earlier, this, about 1/3 of a cup into it, because then that means that since rhubarb is so wet, when we put it in and we cook the pie, the bottom will stay nice and crispy because the sugar will caramelize. So you're gonna put it in, 1, nope, 3-ish. Now we're just gonna spread it around so that it covers a lot of it, like this. Now we're gonna put in the rhubarb. You can do it however you want, but I'm gonna do it like this. No fancy required. I just feel like I want to, so I will. Because this takes up my time, I don't have anything to do. Because I get bored and lonely. Forget it. Done. Spready, 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 spread. No holes. Now evenly pour the rest of your mixture over the top like this. Now we're gonna do exactly what we did on the bottom on the top to make the top part of the pie. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the extra and just like tuck it into the edges just like this so that it looks clean. Now what we're gonna do to make it look pretty is we're going to pinch the pie crust like this and make it go opposite. Then shift over, make it go opposite. Do that all the way around. Now we need to poke a cute little pattern in the top. This is not for decoration, this is just to let the steam out so the pie doesn't go in the oven, because that'd be bad. Now what we're gonna do just to make it taste good on the top like we did on the bottom, we're just going to do a little sprinkle of sugar like this. So now it's ready to get in the oven, but we're gonna put it on a cookie sheet because a lot of the time this pie will boil over and leave a ton of like yucky sugar in the bottom of your oven if you do not put it on something. So let's do it. Be careful, it moves. So we're gonna let this pie bake at 450 for 15 minutes. And then after that goes, we're gonna lower it to 350 and bake that for another 40 minutes. So you know that your pie is done when you can see the filling bubbling inside of it and the edges are nice and gold. I had to get a parent to take this out of the oven because it was way too hot for me to touch and I would have burnt my hands immediately. And I also didn't want to drop it on the floor. Wait for the pie to cool, and then you can serve it warm or cold. And if you like the way it tastes when it's warm, you can always go ahead and just put it in the microwave and heat it up. Don't use metal in the microwave, kids. Stay safe. Hope you like it. Bye.